So we are moving on to quadratic functions in Vertex 4. We want to see how the graph of g of x equaling x squared minus 4 compares to f of x equals x squared. So remember, this f of x equals x squared is our parent function that we were talking about on Friday. So what do I get when I plug in negative 2 into the x squared function? 4. What do I get when I plug in negative 1? No. What's it? Positive 1. 0. 0. 1. And 2. 4. Then I want to go ahead and write my coordinate points. So this first one's going to be negative 2, 4. What's my next point? My next one? My next one? And my last one. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these on my graph. So negative 2, 4 means I go left 2, up 4. Negative 1, 1 means I go left 1, up 1. 0, 0. 1, 1 means I go right 1, up 1. And then 2, 4 means I go right 2, up 4. Then I want to connect my points and label this graph. Okay, so the next one I'm plugging into the equation x squared minus 4. So what do I get when I plug in negative 2? Yeah? What do I get when I plug in negative 1? What's negative 1 squared minus 4? What do I get when I plug in 0? Seven? Okay, someone else, what do I get when I plug in 1? And then when I plug in 2? 0. Okay. So my first coordinate point is going to be what? And my next coordinate point? My next one? My next one? And my last one? So I want to go ahead and graph this. Negative 2, 0 goes left 2 and is on the x-axis. Negative 1, negative 3 goes left 1, down 3. 0, negative 4 is on the y-axis. 1, negative 3 goes right 1, down 3. And 2, 0 goes right 2 and stays on the x-axis. Okay, so the types of transformations we're working with today are in the form f of x equals x squared plus k. Bless you. Okay, so what do I notice about the axis of symmetry for my two graphs? So they have the same axis of symmetry. What is my vertex and my g of x graph? So what is my highest or lowest point in the red graph? Yep. That's not a coordinate point.
0, -4.
0, -4. Okay, and then overall, what do I notice about my red graph compared to my blue graph? Okay, how much below the blue one? Huh? So each point moves down 4. Okay, so the value of k in g of x squared, or g of x equals x squared plus k, translates the graph of the parent function vertically k units. So that means it's moving it up or down based on that end number. So the vertex of my graph is going to be at 0, k, or in this case, what's my k value? -4. So the value of k does not affect my axis of symmetry. So what this question is really asking me to do, it's not asking me to graph. We just graphed it so we could see. It wants me to say in words what is happening. So my red graph is shifting down 4 units. So I could have figured out this answer just based on looking at my equation, how it had -4 right here. That would let me know that I need to say it shifts down 4 units. So on the 2 U tries, you don't have to graph them. You can just look at the function and say what they are. Okay, so then we also have where I can have numbers being added or subtracted inside the parentheses before it gets squared. Guys, stop talking. So this wants me to compare the graph of g of x equals x minus 3 squared and compare it to f of x equals x squared. So this first one is still my parent function. So it's the same parent function we've been dealing with all along. What do I get when I plug in -2? What's -2 squared? 4. What's -1 squared? 0 squared? 1 squared? And 2 squared. So then my coordinate points are So then I want to go ahead and plot these points.
She said I'm putting back though.
But where's your jacket?
In my backpack.
Okay, and then I want to go ahead and label my graph. Okay, so then I want to go ahead and plug in my points for my g of x function. So I want to plug in the -2. This one I'll show you how to do it on the calculator. So I want to do parentheses -2 minus 3, and then square that. This one's going to give me 25. What do I get when I plug in -1? 0. Okay. 1. No. 2. Okay. Notice I don't have enough points that are going to fit on my graph. I'm going to go a little bit more. I'm going to plug in 3. Yeah. And then I'm going to do 4. Okay, so then what are my coordinate points? Okay. My next one. My next one. 0, 9. My next one. My next one. My next one. And my last one. Okay, so I'm just going to graph these ones, because those are the only ones that are going to fit on my graph. So I'm going to do 1, 4, 2, 1, 3, 0, and 4, 1. Okay, so let's start off with my axis of symmetry. What is my axis of symmetry on the red graph? So my axis of symmetry is an equation of a line. So it's actually going to be x equals 3. Okay. What is my vertex? Of my red graph. Okay, so what is each point on the red graph doing compared to the blue graph? Each point is shifting right 3. So the translations we're doing in this section are x minus h, and then that whole thing is squared. So this one moves opposite the sign. So the value of h in g of x equals x minus h squared translates the graph of the parent function f horizontally h units. The vertex of the graph of g is at h comma 0, and in this particular case, that's 3 comma 0. The value of h also translated the axis of symmetry horizontally. And then I still need to write my answer. I'm sorry, I didn't leave us enough space. I want to write it above the graph. It shifts right 3. So I could have told that by just looking at my original equation. So it had x minus 3. If it's inside parentheses, it's going left or right, and then it's opposite the sign. So positive numbers are going to go left, and negative numbers are going to go right. Okay, so I want to put this all together. So given my functions, I want to identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the direction of the graph. So based on this, my vertex, stop talking. My vertex is changing the left and right position based on the number inside the parentheses. So instead of being a negative 1, it's going to be a positive 1. And then the y value of my vertex is the number at the end. My axis of symmetry is always my x value of my vertex. And it's always an equation. So it's going to be x equals 1. Okay, so notice I have no number out in front of my graph. This means it's positive. So the graph is going to open up. So on F, what's my vertex? My axis of symmetry? No. 1. My axis of symmetry is always the x value of my equation. My vertex. And then is this going to open up or down? And that's because 0.25 is a positive number. Okay, so for G, what's my vertex? 2, negative 1. My axis of symmetry? X equals 2. You always write it as an equation. Okay. Notice on this one, my A value is negative. So it's going to open up or down?